College Place is a video library of noteworthy presentations, panel discussions, and lectures featuring guest speakers and faculty members, taped at one of the Milwaukee Area Technical College's 4 southeastern Wisconsin campuses. These are produced by students in the college's Associate's Degree Program in Television Video Production in coordination with Milwaukee Public Television.
On behalf of MATC and the School of Media and Creative Arts, I am Jim McDonald, the Associate Dean of the program, and I'm very thrilled to announce the first of, we hope, many, many series, the Artist Series at MATC. Music, television, film, media. We hope to expand this to allow our students to engage with professionals, to hang out with professionals, to ask questions with professionals, to increase and improve the learning processes here at MATC. With that, I'm going to announce Steve Peplin, but before I do that, I want to thank the MATC faculty, Dale Shively, Kevin Pulls, and a whole slew of staff that helped put this together. Without their help, we wouldn't have been here today. So enjoy. You've got a great venue here today, and I'm going to have Steve Peplin, our talented music faculty member, give you more about a bio on the group. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Our program this afternoon has 2 parts. The first part is a wonderful concert of authentic American blues. The second part will be a Q&A session. Jim and Jeff are kind enough to hang around and give you an inside view into what happens in the blues world. Jim Liban has played with just about everybody, a blues legend who has performed with Jimi Hendrix, Muddy Waters, Journey, Luther Allison, Johnny Winter, and many more. Jeff Dagenhardt is a blues legend as well, who's been under the radar for about 50 years and teaches at Casio Music and has pretty much put a stamp on this town as the blues guitar player. The 2 of these guys have performed together for 45 years, which is, they're practically married, but, well, I'm going to turn it over now to Jim Liban and Jeff Dagenhardt, 2 wonderful American blues musicians. Give it up for Jim and Jeff.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. As Steve was saying that, it just dawned on me, that's, Jeff, that's 90 years collectively. Don't mean to make you feel old. But. Yeah. This is a relationship that goes way, way back. Jeff and I started playing together in high school, and that was in 1960. So, what we're going to start out the show with is a tune that was popular when Jeff and I were kids. Last week. Yeah. This was a tune that came out in the 60s. Might have even been the 50s. I don't know. It's all a blur. It's all a merciful blur. It was by an act called Johnny Otis, and he toured with a review, and it was a big rock and roll hit. But it was really based on the old rhythmic premise of shave and a haircut, 2 bits. Shave and a haircut, 2 bits. Shave and a haircut, 2 bits. Which has become a classic groove in rock and roll. It's if there's anybody in this building who hasn't heard that, I'm going to ask you to leave right now. Willie and the Hand Jive, that's what it was called. Back then, there was a whole set of hand movements. If you're out on the dance floor, I don't know. I don't know. It's pretty cool, but I always had a hard time dancing. It was easier for me to play. You know, it's kind of a curse of the white man's curse. Yeah, and I just want to set the record straight. Even though I've played blues and blues-based music for most of my career, I don't claim to be a blues man in a sense that like Skip James and Muddy Waters and Robert Johnson and B.B. King and all those people are. You know, it's not. I'm just a white kid who fell in love with the music. Okay, and I just wanted to play it. So I'm not making any pretext that I'm the real thing, but I'm the only Jim Liban there is. You know, so I just interpret it my way. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is gonna play a tune by one of my big early influences. Once I got wind of the blues via the British invasion of the 60s, because I grew up as a kid with Jerry Lee Lewis, rock, Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, Little Richard, all those, which were basically rock and roll acts. That was the music that, you know, got my toe tapping. And but then when the British blues invasion, or the British invasion took place in the 60s, are all these new bands that were opening a lot of our ears up, and they're all blues-based. And the Rolling Stones, and I mean, they're the biggest example I can name. But there were so many others, and they always did American covers of American blues music, blues songs, and they would talk about them on the backs of the albums. And through kind of a backwards process, I started researching who these people were and looking for their records, and it was another world, you know, for me as a white kid growing up on the west side of Milwaukee, and it just spoke to me, and I wanted to learn as much about it as possible. I wanted to meet these guys. I wanted to see them, and over the decades, I have not only seen them and met them, and I've played with them. I've recorded with them. I've been very, very, very fortunate to live out that dream. Which was a dream at the time. Now it really seems like a dream, but. Then it was a dream looking forward. Now it's a dream looking past. But anyway, this next song we're doing was it was a song by a guy named Big Walter Horton, and he was considered one of the best harmonica players in Chicago. And he would come up to Milwaukee from time to time and play at this little coffee house on the east side called the Avant Garde, and he would come up usually with another blues guitar player, mandolin player, singer, Johnny Young, and they would usually bring up a band. And through that contact, I eventually got a chance to go down to Chicago and hang out with him and in his house. And Jeff and I used to play with him, and he was a character. But anyway, this is one of the songs that he did, and I hope you enjoy it. Been around the world, I've covered a lot of space. I've never found no one to even take your place, but that ain't it. I need your love. Well, if it ain't me, darling, who you thinking of? Now I realize, I know I did you wrong. All I beg of you, darling, please come on. I need your love. Well, if it ain't me, darling, who are you thinking of? Might be Jim Liban, I don't know. Bought me a home, a shiny new car too, but nothing in this world could take the place of you, and that ain't it. I need your love. Well, if it ain't me, darling, who are you thinking of? Because I've been around the world, I've covered a lot of space. I never found no one to even take your place, and that ain't it. I need your love. Well, if it ain't me, darling, who are you thinking of? Thank you. Okay, now I'm going to do a tune by a fella that was a big influence on a lot of the British blues bands. And once again, I've had the chance to see all these guys. Most of these guys are dead now, but I had the chance to see him many times when he was still alive. And his guitar player, interestingly enough, has lived here in Milwaukee for how many years? 87, 88. But his guitar player's name is Hubert Sumlin. And Hubert was on, I'm talking about Howlin' Wolf, okay? I should probably make that clear. But Hubert was on all of Wolf's classics, all of them. And you can hear the influences of Hubert Sumlin via the Wolf in all of the great blues-based guitar players. And I mean, Stevie Ray Vaughan, Eric Clapton, Hendrix, he was Hubert was a major influence on blues guitar players, and Wolf was just a larger-than-life figure. He had this voice. I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember this disc jockey named Wolfman Jack. Well, his whole vocal style was copped from Howlin' Wolf. Howlin' Wolf was Wolfman Jack times 10. It was just like he gargled with a bucket of razor blades. You know, that's how his voice was. Anyway, I can't do justice to that. I'm not going to try, but I love his music, and I've performed a lot of his songs over the years. And I'm going to do one for you right now. I think Robert Cray did this one on one of his very, very early albums. Who's Been Talking? It's in C minor. C minor. Remember? Let me start. My baby caught a train, said she's going away. My baby caught a train, said she's going away. Don't know where she's going, I hope she'll come back someday. Now this is the part I like. My baby caught a ticket, long as my right arm. My baby bought a ticket, long as my right arm. I don't know what I did, I didn't mean her any harm. Now who's been talking around the neighborhood? I wonder who's been talking around the neighborhood. You know my buddy friends, they never meant me any good. I wonder who been talking around the neighborhood. You know my so-called friends, they never meant me any good. Now goodbye, baby, I got to call it gone. Now goodbye, baby, I've got to call it gone. Don't know what I did, must be the causing of it all. 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 I don't know what I did, must be the causing of it all. Okay, thank you. Okay, we got another Howlin' Wolf Hubert Sumlin collaboration. This old, great old, almost a classic of the blues. It probably predated Howlin' Wolf, but his version is by far my favorite. It's called "Sitting on Top of the World." Went away one summer day. She's gone and left me here to stay. And now she's gone, but I don't worry, 'cause I'm sitting on top of the world. Worked all the summer, worked all the fall. You know I had to work on Christmas in my overalls. And although she's gone, I'm not worried, 'cause I'm sitting on top of the world. Going down to the station, I'm gonna catch a plane. Well, I'm leaving, and I won't be back again. Although she's gone, I don't worry, 'cause I'm sitting on top of the world. I worked all the summer, and I worked all the fall. Had to work Christmas in my overalls. Though she's gone, I'm not worried, 'cause I'm sitting on top of the world. Oh, yeah, okay, now we're going to feature Jeff. Some of you know Jeff. How about a nice round of applause for Jeff Dagenhardt? Not only are we friends, lifelong friends, childhood friends, but more importantly, we're business partners.
What did you do with all the money?
What money? You know, that reminds me, you know how to make $1 million playing blues?
Start with 4.
You want to, you just gave it. Do you want to say it? Start with 5 million. Okay, this is a tune that Jeff wrote. He calls it the Dagenhardt Shuffle. What are the chances? Jeff Dagenhardt. I want to set this song up right because it's gone through a change. I've gone through a change recently. Not to get all maudlin, but the last 3.5 years have been pretty rough for me. I've suffered a lot of loss, a lot of loved ones, including my wife, and it pretty much knocked the wind out of me. Pretty much challenged every belief I ever had about life, and I was pretty down, needless to say. And I had been starting to work my way back after 3.5 years, but still feeling real at a loss as to what to do with the rest of my life. And kind of, to be honest with you, kind of disillusioned in the music business and in music in general. It just didn't have the same, it just didn't mean the same to me as it had before. Just recently I took a trip to Cuba. In fact, I just got back this past weekend. And I had a chance to play in a Cuban church with the band, hot, funky Cuban band. But they were playing church music, but funky. It was right up my alley. And through a series of circumstances, I wound up playing with them. And when I was done, I had so many people coming up to me, and whether you're a Christian or not, it doesn't. It really doesn't matter. But people were coming up to me and telling me, that they felt anointed, and I don't even quite understand what that meant, but I knew it was something good.
Not annoying, right?
No, not annoying, anointed.
Sorry.
One of these days, Jeff.
Sorry.
Remember that? Okay, and they were telling me, and some were moved to tears. Now, I've never seen that happen in a bar in Wisconsin or anywhere else, and I've played around the country in various other places. And it dawned on me, yeah, this is my gift. This is my gift. And it kind of renewed my focus, and I feel refreshed, and I feel recommitted to my music. Anyway, this song I wrote during, thank you very much. But this song, I wrote the song, and we put it on the list before I went to Cuba. So this song reflects more how I was feeling in this past 3 years than it does how I feel today. So bear that in mind. It's still kind of a neat song, and I'm sure we've all felt this way, especially us old people. I believe my time has come and gone. I believe to my soul my time has come and gone. Well, I'm getting kind of tired, and I'm barely hanging on. I believe the parade has passed me by. I believe to my soul the parade has passed me by. Well, I'm kind of tired of living, and I really don't mind if I die. Let me run it again now. Oh, yeah. I believe I'm running out of time. I believe to my soul I'm running out of time. Well, I'm closer to the finish than I am the starting line. Thank you very much. Going to change it up a little bit for you right now, and this is a tune that was written by Chuck Berry. Everybody associates up-tempo, happy, fun-loving music, but Chuck wrote some really beautiful blues ballads, and this is. Oh no! Wait a minute. I'm not talking. This is Freddie King, wasn't it? No. No, you don't have to see the list. Just trust me. Step out in faith. Yeah, I think it was Freddie King. Sad Night Owl. Is that Freddie King?
Could have just showed me the list.
Please forgive me.
Okay.
Okay.
Gee. Yeah.
Got one more for you here. Well, this is a big R&B hit for a fella by the name of Bill Doggett. He was a keyboard player, but he had a huge hit in the late 50s, early 60s, called Honky Tonk. And we're going to go out with this tune. It's kind of a, yeah, I don't know, maybe a national anthem of blues. I don't know. that one more time, do you mind? Thank you very much, everybody. Jeffrey Dagenhardt, thank you for coming down. I want to thank all the staff, especially the lovely and talented Jim Reith, who is doing the mixing the board. Thank you very much. We're going to take a short little break here just to get something to drink, and we're going to come back. If there's anybody here and has any questions, we'd be happy to answer them. So it's up to you. We won't take it personally if you're not here. Okay.
I'd like to get this started with, just how did you get started in this? What was your initial exposure to this stuff?
I got started playing drums. My mother was very supportive of my musical abilities when I was a kid, and I wanted to be a drummer first. Because do you remember? Well, I guess they still have the Mickey Mouse Club, don't they? I don't know. But back when we were kids, Mickey Mouse Club was really new, and there was a kid. One of the Mouseketeers was named Cubby, and he played drums. And I just wanted to be a drummer after I saw Cubby. So I played drums all the way through grade school and high school. But during high school is when the British invasion started happening, and I heard all this harmonica stuff going on, and I fell in love with that. And I tell people that I stopped playing the drums because I couldn't get them in my mouth. I wish I had them right now. Bada boom.
Kind of the same thing for me. You know, my mom listened to the radio all the time. We had the radio on in the kitchen, 247. We didn't, it was a long time before we had a TV. My dad had a radio in the living room, and he would listen to music all the time, and it just was a thing around the house. And then, of course, you see, for me, it was kind of like, I had my mother's guitar to strum first. She showed me a few open chords, but I didn't take it seriously until the late 50s. And, I saw Buddy Holly on TV, and I thought, wow, that's really something, and I got a guitar, and I just my mom's guitar first, and strummed that, and then when I could finally play along with Buddy Holly, Peggy Sue, from the beginning of the record to the end of the record, I thought, wow, this is okay then. That was kind of like my line of demarcation. Up until then, everything had been just like, I'd play for 6 months and drop it for 6 months, and then, I think I must have been like 13 then when I really started taking it seriously, and I knew that I had it. Then I could play strum along the chords with Buddy Holly from the beginning of the song to the end of the song, and I guess that's where it really started. And of course, I heard Chuck Berry, and then I went, wow, Maybelline, and of course that whole thing. And then that's all my peers, the guys I was hanging out with at St. Joe's grade school. We listened to 45s. We had a little 45 player. That's all it did. You had to set the record on, put the needle on, play it, take it off. And the guys I hung out with, that's what we listened to, and I started to emulate that. And next thing you know, I was trying out for bands, and that's how I met Jim. So.
Well, we talk a lot about getting people to practice and going through sort of an incubation period where at some point you have to go in the shed and come out transformed. Did you guys ever go through one really significant transformation period where you went into the shed, into the wood shed, and came out transformed?
Yes.
Good answer.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, there have been so many moments. I can't even remember them all. My wife used to say that your memory's getting so bad, Jim, when you die, someone else's life is going to flash before your eyes. I can't point to any one moment. No, it's just been a string of them. Can I brag a little bit?
Of course. The Jim Liban show.
One of those moments in that string, I was in a band in the late '60s, a blues band around here, and we moved to San Francisco during the summer of love, and we would play the ballrooms, Avalon, Fillmore. We go down to LA and play the Whiskey. And one night, or we were booked at the Whiskey A Go-Go for a weekend. That's how they used to do it back then. And one night, there was a buzz in the club, and the buzz was going, Jimi Hendrix is here. Jimi Hendrix is here. And, okay, so Jimi Hendrix is here. Nice. Okay. And he sat off on a table all by himself, didn't come up to the band, didn't say anything. Next night, he came back with his guitar. And he asked if he could sit in with us. And I said, I don't know, Jimmy. Of course we let him sit in, and that's a pretty. I think that's a pretty big highlight. I mean, I'm certainly going to tell my grandkids when they get a little older to know who Jimi Hendrix is. That was kind of cool.
That's very cool. It's not as cool as what I'm going to say. Next question.
We have a question over here. Justin, what's your question?
Awesome. So I guess mine's going to apply to both of you. When you guys were first getting started and playing your first gigs or whatever, what would you see was more important, developing your own style or sound, or getting a repertoire of songs to play?
Yes. Again, and I don't mean to be flip about it, but none of us live in a vacuum. We're all influenced by everybody. Mose Allison said that originality is an illusion, and I strongly believe that. So we're really all just products of what we absorb, what we listen to, what we're drawn to, what speaks to us. However, that being said, I remember all the old blues guys would always, one of the things they stressed when you could get them to talk about it was they'd say, you've got to develop your own sound. So that being said, what you do is you take all influences you can or that you like, and you kind of roll them up in a big ball and kind of throw them out the window and then just play. And put your own spin on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, great answer.
Jeff? Anything to add?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think the first and most important thing for me was so I wouldn't run out of songs. In other words, I think I just concentrated on learning as many songs as I possibly could. I wasn't worried about style. I wasn't worried about content or anything, just so that we wouldn't have to repeat the same set over again. You know what I mean? It's like, so you could have 3 or 4 sets comfortable of music where every song was different. So that was a big watershed for me, so that you could go to the job and you wouldn't be, I remember the first time I played in Frame Park in Waukesha at the Schutze building, and we did the same set 3 times, and they thought it was cool, but I was kind of embarrassed by it, but it was important. I thought that we get a lot of material so that things are different, And then after that, then of course, like you said, all those guys say, after you've learned all this stuff, then bring something of yourself to it. I think that's what's the important thing about music is after you learn how to play, you like Eric Clapton or you like James Brown or whoever you liked and you emulated them and you learned all that stuff. Then later on, like my T-Bone Shuffle and the tunes that I write, the instrumentals that I write, are an amalgam of all those things. And then you try to be yourself with the instrument, and that's when the real growth comes. You can still be a cookie cutter and copy all those other tunes, but then you can bring something of yourself to it.
Yes, sir. Next question.
Hi there. At what time in your life were you
What's your name, sir, and where are you from?
John, from the world. At what time in your life were you most creative? At what
Like I say,
period of your
my
life?
hearing is going as well
I'm
as my
sorry,
memory.
no. At what period of your life, in what period, at what age were you most creative?
Most creative?
When I was younger, just, you know, there was a time probably in the 70s, mid-70s, maybe into the mid-80s, I think, for me it was. And I don't, you know, it's just, I was just more things I thought I had to say, looking back at it. It's another question, another thing, but I don't know, yeah, I would just write and write and write and practice and practice and practice, and every gig I would record, and I would listen to it the next day, all 3 hours, and I would find out what worked and what didn't, and every idea I got, I wrote down in a notebook, you know, and I still have notebooks that are just, you know, just piles and piles of them, you know, and that's what, by the way, that's what napkins were invented for, writing down ideas.
I think for me it was around the same time, 70s, 80s, but I had more strength then. In other words, like learning how to play a musical instrument is almost like sports. You build yourself up so you can play really well. And I could attempt more things and do more things, and I was taking more advantages because I had strength then. My chops were up. You know, I don't play as much today as I did then, you know, because I got in, there was a period of time in there I got into changing diapers in a big way. And I wasn't able to put as much time on the instrument. And then I had another episode where I was into changing diapers again. And then the third and final episode was diapers again.
So that was your most creative part, right?
I got so I could change a diaper in the dark with my eyes closed and not getting anything on myself.
Oh.
Troy, next question.
When you were starting out, was it more important for you to like be on a record label, or be you know what I'm saying, be with a record label, or just playing? What was more important for you? Both of you. What was most important thing?
Once again, yes. Yeah. All I ever wanted to do, my bottom line was to be able to make a living playing music. But being young and full of myself, I thought I had a lot to offer the world, and I wanted the world to hear it, and I wanted to be on a label, you know, and as fate would have it, when I was out in San Francisco, the band did get signed to MGM, and I've, you know, anyway, that was the beginning of it, but it happened, you know, so yeah, it was, you especially when you're young. No, I could care less but about the label, but I still want to play.
Yeah, same for me, making money. You know, it's like I wasn't, you know, you always hear about being discovered. Some guy's going to come in the club that night, and you know you're on your way. But a lot of it is luck. It's a lot of things. But we just wanted to make money, you know, and play great music and have a good time doing it. But money was a big factor. I wasn't thinking about being on a label at all. You know.
Kate, next question, please.
The intimate dynamic of like a duo setting is completely different than the dynamic of playing in like a big group. Which do you guys prefer, and why?
Whichever pays more. I have no preferences. I mean, they all have their good points and bad points. You know, it depends.
Breathing in and breathing out. That's it for me.
Jake.
As music students, we're a lot of the time asked, oh, well, when are you going to get like a real job while you play music? Was there any point where you had a career that you could have taken, but you said, no, I'm just going to do music and I'm not going to conform?
As soon as I graduated from high school.
I had a chance with a bunch of buddies of mine out in Waukesha that I grew up with to mow lawn in a graveyard, to work out at the graveyard out in Waukesha, and it was a really great job, and I was really tempted to do it because there was benefits, there was all that pension and all of that. But again, you know, it's like you sit down and you go, this is it. This is, you know, it's like, it's almost like this to me. It's like making the correct decisions in your life is singularly the most important thing you can do. And I taught my children this too. Like, okay, you can choose this car, you can choose that car, this baseball glove, that guitar, you know. So it's like making choices. And it was a funny kind of revelation. I just said, no, I want to be a guitar player, you know, because I went to school too, and I graduated, and I go, you know, I could go get a job now, and it's like, no, I'm going to keep playing guitar, you know, and it's like, at any given moment, you're going to have a good day or a bad day with what you choose to do, and I thought, I can handle the more bad days with music because I can still play. In other words, I can go off in the corner and fix myself in a funny kind of way, you know what I mean? So I'm really glad I stuck with music.
Thanks.
I just want to add one thing to that. My dad just died last summer. That was one of the losses I was talking about earlier. But he had a long life. He was 95. And I think at 95, he was still wondering when I was going to get a real job.
It's funny you should say that because my mom said the same thing. My mom said, you know, aren't you going to do something, you know? And I'm sure all you guys have heard that, you know, it's like...
Thank you.
Matt, next question, please.
In reference to the bad days that you were talking about in general, or as a music professional, what would you say are those? What would you say is the hardest thing about being a professional musician? Like starting off, getting shows, traveling,
It's no different than anything else. There are going to be days when you don't have enough gigs and you do get behind in your finances, and that's about probably... And the other thing that you would have a bad day would be when you're sick. There's nothing worse than having to go out into a tavern and play and you're not feeling good. You got strep throat or you got an earache or something like that, and it's not like you can call in sick and another guy's going to do your job, you know. So the bad days, that's what it is. It's like if you're not feeling good or you're behind in your bills because you didn't get enough gigs. It's just like anything else. Yeah,
And not like life in general is a struggle every day. I mean, in many different areas. But so you know, it was just I just never thought of anything else. You know, it was just something that I couldn't even. I don't even know what I would be if I weren't a musician. You know, so it was a drive. You know, I look back on my life now, and it was just a drive that was there all the time, and it saw me through all those rough times, and rejection is a big part of it. And if you and I'm not good at rejection, you know, it's not easy for me. But somehow I managed to survive. Somebody asked me once to be on a panel about how did I survive 45 years in the music business, and I didn't do the panel because the only answer I had was fear. Kept me going, you know. Fear of not being able to pay the next bill. So that's part of what drove me.
Thank you.
Okay, Jack, next question, please.
You guys said that you're not really bluesmen. What's your opinion on the bluesman soul-selling myth? Is that like a metaphor, or is that something a little more real?
Robert Johnson, Crossroads myth.
Yeah, the Crossroads myth. You knew a
That's
lot of the big jazz.
that's between Bob and God. I don't, and the devil maybe.
talking about, Robert Johnson?
Yep.
I don't know. I'm not.
Once again, all I can...
I wasn't there.
You wasn't there.
I think the guy went away and he practiced a lot and came back and he was fully developed. It's like he took time out of his life to stop and burn it up, and he had the gift and he just kept fashioning it until he became himself. So
More of the metaphor. Is that.
Chris.
If you guys ever had like a point of like writer's block, how did you ever find a routine to get yourself out of it, or just find inspiration from somewhere else, or was there a certain way you did it?
I've experienced it many times, and I don't have an answer for how you get out of it. It's just you have to ride. You just work through it.
You just found a way back into it.
And then nothing magical, you know. I mean, there's no formula for getting out of writer's block, but.
And was it easier or harder for you during like the harder times? Was it easier or harder for you during like the harder times when like all deaths were going on and stuff?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
Was
Get
it-
a little closer to the mic if you.
Was it more difficult or less difficult during the harder times when worse things
more
were
or
happening?
less what?
Does difficulty create inspiration? Life difficulty, right?
Yeah. I mean, there were. Yeah. That you know, like everything, there maybe sometimes the writer's block would only last a short time, sometimes a long time, but it's part of the deal, you know. In any art, any creative endeavor, you know, or even maybe in any endeavor period, you know, I mean, you just have you have dry moments, and the next moment the well is flowing, or the spring is flowing, you know. Yeah, being a salesman is that way
Ditto.
too.
Thank you.
Maurice.
Have you ever written work that you were like unsatisfied with, and you know, what did you do with it?
Oh yes. Well, they're gathering dust right now. They're just sitting in notebooks gathering dust. Yeah. I mean, for every song that works, you write. I'm just making this up, but 10 or 20 that are utter dreck. Yeah, that's part of the deal too. You know, you just write and write and write and write and write until something comes together, and the rest of it you just file away. Does that answer your question?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Kashina.
Hi, thanks for coming, first of all. It was awesome.
Our pleasure.
Who do you listen to now? Are there any artists that you like?
Great question. Right now I'm going through a Afrobeat, Latin beat phase. Fela Kuti in the Afrobeat I've been just engrossed in him. When I was in Cuba, I picked up some CDs, artists I don't even know who they are. You know, there's all these artists down there who don't, you know, they're just well known on the island, and so that's the stuff I'm listening to right now. I'm really into that right now. Cool. I've gone through a lot of phases, even though a lot of my music is blues and blues based. This is just a part of my influences over the decades. There are a lot of music I like, and there are a lot of musics I like to play, and there are a lot of musics I like to listen to. There are only two kinds of music.
Good and bad?
Good and bad.
What about you?
My children are like musicians now, and they turn me on to everything, you know, like I listen to the new stuff, Green Day, you know, I'm big into Billy Joel. I really think he's a great character, and they write good, meaningful music. So my son Dallas and my son Austin, Dad, you got to hear this. They burn me stuff, and of course then they're into my stuff. So they've gotten the entire blues and jazz side of it too. So let me borrow that, you know. So it's kind of like a give and take right now, and they're whatever they burn for me. They listen to some of it, you know. I really like it, you know. And again, I still teach. I give guitar lessons, and you know the kids are constantly bringing in. I got this girl on Saturday who brought in Sugarland. I had no idea what Sugarland was because I don't really dial up the country end of it, but I learned a lot. This gal sings great, the band is great, they play well together, and so I'm constantly learning from my students and my sons, and it's just kind of like, I don't really have to go anywhere, it's just falling in my lap all the time.
Right. Cool.
Yeah, that's a good point. I'll just make this last point, and I'll to top that off. Now, I mean, you guys are living in an age where I'm not quite sure if you realize how blessed you are with the abundance of stuff, music included, that's available to you via the internet, everything. When we were learning, when we were kids, that was all that stuff was. None of that stuff was available, obviously, and we used to have to. I used to go into the record stores in the inner city up on 3rd and North, and I used to go to clubs in the inner city. Used to go down to Chicago, go to the South Side. I mean, that's the only place you could hear that music. You know, that's your heritage, and that's what I did. But you guys now it's all around you. All you have to do is press a button and dial up what you want, and it's there. You know,
Right.
you're really lucky.
Yeah. Okay. So I told my teacher I would love to sing with you guys. Do you guys know Senior Blues? Do we what? Do you know Senior Blues? The song? Senior Blues.
That's Senior Blues.
Senior Blues.
Senior. Is that the
Right,
the jazz? That's a jazz tune, right?
Well, I've heard it a
Blues.
few different ways. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's a. I want to say
Or
Horace
something else.
Silver tune
I
or
think you
something.
guys are great.
Yeah,
Honestly,
anyway,
I've
yeah.
never heard harmonica like. Well,
Oh.
I never enjoyed it, should I say? So this was amazing for me today.
I
Thanks
learned
for
I learned
coming.
it from your grandparents.
Probably. Thank you.
Yeah, no, I think I know the song you're talking about, but I'm not 100% sure. Yeah,
It would probably be better to rehearse it.
I'll check on it. There, once again, you know, I mean,
James, did you have a question? I think we have time for one more question, at least.
Having seen sort of, you know, the British invasion and the evolution of blues through, like, you know, decades, and people are now being, like, kind of reawakened to it, what would you say is sort of like what is the inherent quality about it that keeps it, like, vibrant or, like, relevant, given the face of all these new musics and ways of creating?
like I say, up until this trip to Cuba, I was kind of losing my enthusiasm for it. But that's changed now. So I don't know if I can even answer that question and make sense out of it. I just realized, once again, that it's a gift. Music is a gift. And it's my gift as well as Jeff's and many, many people, Jim's gift and Steve's gift and many other people in here. And as a gift, gifts can be taken away. They're given to you. They can also be taken away. And I realize that I better keep using this gift if I want to keep it. So that's what kind of makes it vibrant. Oh. Does that sound too metaphysical?
No, not at all.
Okay.
There's some kind of truth in it, I think. That's what attracted me to it, is like you can hear the person's life, you know, in reverse. You can dial into their life because they say something through their songs, and there's a certain kind of truth there that held an attraction for me. You hear the lyrics to the songs, not only the music, but and in many cases, it's a certain kind of freedom. In other words, when you're playing, it's like it's a freedom and it's a truth. And I think that's why blues continues to carry on, because these people get into it, and you know, the songs that you feel that you should write about what's going on in your life, you're going to express a truthful situation, and so it cleanses you. It's the truth, and it's a certain kind of freedom.
Yeah, thank you very much, Vance.
Any other questions?
Make it quick because our meter's
Our
about
meter
to
just
run
ran
out.
I just heard it.
Okay, Ryan.
Was there a time you ever felt discouraged about music, and if so, what was there anything that you did or something that happened to you that made you realize that's something you wanted to do and continue doing?
As my kids, my grandkids, and my son would say, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the ups and downs are just exhausting.
It steels you for the future. Don't laugh.
I guess more
It
specifically,
steels you for the future.
I want to
mean,
know what answer did you come up with that helped you decide that's what that's the best path for you?
Once again, I was just driven. I didn't analyze it. It was just something in me that drove me, and that's about as clever as analytical as I can get. It just was always there. And like I say, I started playing drums when I was in grade school. It was just there.
you'll work harder than you've ever worked at anything.
Okay, and real quick, are you guys fans of Les Paul, and have you worked with him?
What about Les Paul?
Are you fans of Les Paul, and have you worked with him?
Of course. I've never worked with him, but no. Yeah, if you're a musician, and especially a guitar player, I do play a little guitar too, but yeah. I mean, you can speak to that better.
You know, I'm from Waukesha, and I grew up knowing about Les Paul. My mother heard that on the radio, and she said, that guy's from here. When I heard Hold That Tiger in 1953, How High the Moon and Vaya con Dios, this was in 52 and 53. My mom said, these people are from town, so I had to search them out. He was an amazing character, I'll tell you that.
Thank you.
All right, one last question, and then we'll close this session.
Hi, my name is Terrell Putnam, and I just want to know, are you guys interested in recording or collaborating with any new and upcoming artists?
Yes.
Absolutely.
I love the stuff some of the young kids are doing. I love it. I've been playing with some young guys off and on recently, and they're amazing. I mean, it's an evolution, you know. Music is an always evolving thing, and the young people are always the ones who introduce the innovations and the changes. And there are some things going on in music being made by young musicians that really are exciting. Yeah, I'd love to. There are a bunch of guys. Yes. And I'm just talking about guys in town here. You know, needless to say, guys out on the national scene. Yeah.
So how could someone approach you concerning it?
I think I have a card. I don't have a computer, but I have a card. I am old school. I'm
Caveman.
Do you have a phone?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
We'll both give you our cards as we're packing up.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
On that note, gentlemen, do you have any closing remarks?
Just thank you. Once again, thank you to all of you, all of you students, all you people who just came in to listen, even if you're not students, and to all the staff. Thank you very much. Thank you.
We're honored.
Thank you very much. Jim Liban, Jeff Dagenhardt.
Thanks.
Thank you,
Thanks,
fellas.
Steve.
Thank you, fellas.
And I hope you're getting me from my good side.
College Place is a video library of noteworthy presentations, panel discussions, and lectures featuring guest speakers and faculty members, taped at one of the Milwaukee Area Technical College's 4 southeastern Wisconsin campuses. These are produced by students in the college's Associate's Degree program in television video production in coordination with Milwaukee Public Television.